Hello, everyone. Sue.oneschuk here, continuing the workbook lessons of A Course in Miracles. And today we are on lesson 317. And the lesson is, I follow in the way appointed me. And it reads, I have a special place to fill, a role for me alone. Salvation waits until I take this part as what I choose to do. Until I make this choice, I am the slave of time and human destiny. But when I willingly and gladly go the way my Father's plan appointed me to go, then will I recognize salvation is already here, already given all my brothers and sisters, and already mine as well. And the prayer is, Father, your way is what I choose today. Where it would lead me, do I choose to go? What it would have me do, I choose to do. Your way, Father, is certain, and the end secure. The memory of you awaits me there, and all my sorrows end in your embrace, which you have promised to your Son, who thought mistakenly that he had wandered from the sure protection of your loving arms, Father. The lesson is, I will, or I follow in the way appointed me. So our holy self is where we will feel safe, or we feel safe and secure when we're experiencing that holy self. And in that space, we leave the how to God. Now, back in lesson 71, let's find that here. We were given, I thought I had it marked. We were given this, and it's a great way to start our day. And it's about, again, us practicing these lessons. So it says in this lesson 71, remembering this, that let us devote the remainder of our extended practice periods to asking God to reveal his plan to us. And this is what we ask specifically. And it's a great way to start each day. And it says here, and it's on page 122 of the workbook lessons. And here's what you ask about the plan, God's plan. And it is, what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? And what would you have me say, and to whom? It says, give him full charge of the rest of the practice period, and let him tell you what needs to be done by you in his plan for your salvation. And he will answer in proportion to your willingness, not your resistance, to your willingness to hear his voice. And in that, I want to add that, are we willing to truly listen for the voice for God? It says, refuse not to hear. And the very fact that you're doing these exercises, doing these practices, doing these lessons, proves that you have some willingness to listen. This is enough to establish your claim to God's answer. So, further to that, when we surrender our I know mind of the ego, and follow thy will, God's will, when we're truly listening for it, is, we surrender versus, the ego will, which the ego will is always a slave to time. It says that in line 3, until I make this choice to go the appointed way of God, I am the slave of time and human destiny. In that slave of time and human destiny, there's where, we are attempting to complete ourselves with the idols of the world. It's important to note again, as it's presenting, or as it is presented here in this lesson, for us to note that we have the choice. We can choose. And that choice is choosing to practice these lessons and principles. It's, again, can't be said enough about being radically honest with yourself. And to no longer choose to abandon your holy self. I'm reminded over and over again, most recently, and this is the message I have, and I pass on to you, that, in actuality, if you've come this far in the course, you may or may not totally get this. Remember, I've been doing this course for years, but I'm reminded that this course is actually simple. It's just we're not applying it. Because rather, again, we entertain the ego thought system. We live from our ego identity that we have developed ourselves. And if we're radically honest with ourselves, and if we have some compassion and love for our brothers and sisters, we are all struggling with the ego identity, searching for peace there. Giving to get. Where with God in our holy self, we are safe and secure, and all things are possible. And it's, actually a moment by moment process, although we're not awake moment by moment. But this course is all about the awakening to who we are as our holy self. So I want to read further for further reflection on this, as always, again, from the Year of Forgiveness by Tina Marie Spalding, giving her credit for this. She is a channel. She channels Jesus. And here's another message from Jesus on this lesson. And again, the lesson is, I follow in the way appointed me. And Jesus says here, you are blessed beings indeed, and I am the one you know as Jesus. You are all given the opportunity to hear the information that will transform your minds. I'm going to add here, we're given the information to transform our minds, and this is what this course is about. It's a mind training to transform our minds from fear-based thinking to love. So Jesus says it comes to you over and over and over again. That's why we're repeating so much of this. Even in my speaking, I feel like I'm repeating it. I need to hear it. And thank you for listening as I share it, so that I remember. It said it comes to you in the form of a book. It comes to you in the form of people sharing their testimony. It comes to you in a dream. It comes to you in many, many ways. This opportunity to surrender to God's will for you. This is antithetical to the ego's world. The ego does not want to surrender to anything. Just look at that. Look at where you're not surrendering. Again, it's because you or I, if we're not surrendering, we're caught up in the ego identity. But as you may have noticed, as you go through life and you become more and more disillusioned, because the illusions, the idols of the world, I'll add here, do not live up to the ego's story about what they will be. A new body, a new boyfriend, a new car, a new job, a new country you move to, or a bigger house. It doesn't matter. The illusions you have been taught to follow and have the inclination to follow eventually will begin to disappoint you. I'm going to add there. Have you noticed that? That is, again, that's the disillusionment. You still believe in the illusions, but they do not feed you the way they used to. Eventually, there will come a point of surrender. And in that point of surrender, there can be a dark night of the soul, indeed. You can fall to your knees and say, I cannot do this anymore. In that moment, that's the moment of surrender. You will say, show me the way. There must be a better way. And I'm going to add in here, this is where the writers of this book, in their own lives, they came to a point in saying there must be a better way. That was Helen Schuckman and Bill Thetford. And it says, and in that moment, spirit, when you surrender, spirit steps in and says, yes, there is a better way, and here it is. Although we need to surrender. It's giving it over to the Holy Spirit. You have been given the means to that end. And the book you hold in your hands, the book, A Course in Miracles, is the means that you have been given to take you to salvation. The ego is going to want you to throw the book away. I don't know if you ever felt that way. It says other people have different pathways. Other people have different routes. There are 1,000 routes to heaven. But if you are doing this lesson and this work speaks to you, then you have found your means to the end. Jesus says, follow it, love it, enjoy it, and trust in your life to show you the next thing you need to work on. It will come to you every day. Each day there will be something that feels a little off, that you know is not correct. Trust that it will reveal itself to you. You do not need to go digging for it. It will show itself in negative emotions, in sadness, and in depression, in guilt, in shame, or fear. Step into each day eager for not only the joy that day will bring, but also for the little nudge that there's something off. And now that is your next project. That is the next little piece of forgiveness work you will do. Get up each day optimistic. Get up each day happy that you have an opportunity to be part of the most wonderful 3D experience. Jesus says, yes, it's challenging. Yes, it is tiring. Yes, it can be exhausting when you're off track. But once you have found the means to the end, things will improve. I'm the one you know as Jesus, and I'll speak to you again. You know, as I read this sentence here, each day there will be something that feels a little off that you know is not correct, and trust that it will reveal itself to you. You need not to go digging for it. And it'll show up in negative emotions of sadness, depression, guilt, shame, or fear. And I'm going to add in there, just notice how that may come up. And you reach for something to comfort you in the moment. It could be reality therapy. It could be food. It could be alcohol. It could be drugs. All of it to cover up the guidance system that we have been given to show us that something is off, and to find the willingness to go deeper and to acknowledge those experiences of the moment of sadness. It could be anger as well, depression, guilt, self-betrayal, self-sabotage. The ego wants to, for us to sabotage ourselves. This course is layered. You may or may not be there yet, but you may want to notice where you're covering it up. Because in several of the lessons, it does, present that we're avoiding looking at all this fear-based, all the fear that's behind our thinking, all the fear that is behind our behavior, all the fear that's behind our experiences. So I'm going to leave it at that for today. And the lesson again is, I follow in the way appointed me. All right. So that's lesson 317. And I look forward to being with you in the next video for lesson 318. I hope that has helped. I know it gives me a lot to bring forward into my day, to go forward with in my day. So until then, please go below and like, comment, and share. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And until the next video, from my heart to yours, I extend much love to you. And bye for now.